To set up Google Drive assignments, I've got to go to the App Center. The first time I set up Google Drive assignments for a course, and install the LTI app. There I agree, I install it. Here, maybe if you have more than one course, it will show here. Installing Google Drive assignments. I turn to my course, make an assignment, and now you can see Google Drive assignments down there. So this is homework number 2. Now I've already set up an assignment in my own Google Drive. Here I'm the teacher, then I'm what? This is my second assignment. So I've already set that up. But when I click on Google Drive assignments, it will take me to my Google Drive. Now the first time I do this, I'm going to have to connect to my Google Drive. Now that I'm connected, and I've only got to do that once, I can see the homework 2. I'd already gone into my Google Drive and set up homework 2. I'll touch on that in a moment. I click on it and I'll attach that to the file. And then here I'll give it a due date like I would any standard assignment. Say it'll be due in a few days at 5, worth 10 points. It's got to have a category. If I have student learning outcomes, I can assign it there. If I want a lock date. You might notice that I no longer have the submissions enabled, submissions disabled button. Google Drive Assignments does not have that capability. I can only have it published and unpublished. That's a limitation here. And note too that this will create a copy of the file for each student. So when I click create, students will have a copy of that file for them to work on homework number 2. From the student's perspective, the student will pick up a document in My Documents. There's a Submit button that lets them submit their assignment. There's an Edit button that lets them select from here. And here you can see Angelina Wangen's document that she's... And the advantage to Google Drive is I've actually got a document that you've prepared for them. So in this case, maybe I've given directions that the student should correct the grammar in this document. So this is a fully editable word processing document. It can even be a blank document. I use essentially blank documents to do laboratory reports in physical science. The student can then pop it out into a separate window, which you'll see here if they wish. It's now in a new tab. It's in a separate tab to get the full word processing capabilities of Google Docs. All of the capabilities, a bit easier to use. That's what the edit button does. They have to remember they're now in a new tab and they'll have to switch back to the other tab. But anything they do in the new tab, any changes that they make in this tab here will be reflected. If they delete this that they just typed in, those changes will be reflected here when they come back to their document. So when they're done, they click submit. Are you sure you want to submit? They submit their document and then say done. Back at the from the teacher's perspective, When they click on homework 2, the interface will look a little different. This is what it looks like. This interface is the teacher's interface for Google Drive assignments, and it's different than anything you've probably seen if you haven't used GDA. In progress shows you any documents that are in progress. Now, Angelina already submitted her document, so it's not in progress. But there will be a list of students and any documents they're working on but haven't yet submitted. You can actually see work your students are working on as they're working on it in Google Drive assignments. And then here's the submission. Maybe come back and look at that in a moment. The submission here is, Angelina, you can see it here. This is a full window, a full document window. That is, I can open that into its own tab. I'm now in that tab. I'm the instructor, and I can make comments directly in the document. Like I can click here and say, you forgot to add 3 commas. I don't know, it's a silly thing, but whatever you want to put in, you can put that in. You'll notice I'm actually getting some grammar suggestions here. I'm getting the blue lines are grammar, red lines would be spelling suggestions. But when I make a comment like this, that will actually show up in Angelina Wangen's Updates tab of her Gmail in real time. The comments flow through there as well as in the document should she open the document. It's available to her in the document. If she goes back to her assignment and opens up the assignment, it's also available to her there. Let me go, and when I wish to, if I wish to unsubmit the document, I can unsubmit the document if I wish from, sorry, not from there. I should show you that though. This is the student view. The due date hasn't come yet, so the student has the ability to pull the document back and edit it and resubmit it because the assignment has not yet been graded. And so the student does have the ability, I'm Angelina Wangen, that student does have the ability to pull it back and edit it ahead of the due date. The capability of Google Drive assignments. For the instructor, grading, I'm the instructor again. Grading is up here in this corner, and I click on that corner, the upper right corner, and I can type in a grade. I can make a comment. I haven't done a rubric here, but if I do use rubrics, and if you have attached a rubric to the assignment, the rubric will pop open on the right side at this point, and I can share any comment I make with the student, and I can save that, and the student gets a grade. Let me go back to my people and plants, and let me go ahead and add an assignment here. Let me this time let me go ahead and just create a blank document just for fun. I'm in my drive.google.com. I'm going to add in a blank document, but as you saw, there are many different types of documents. But just to add in a blank document for illustration purposes. But from Drive, you can add docs, sheets, slides, all of these, all of which can be viewed on mobile. You'll notice that I now have a folder called Google Drive Assignments. That folder was created by Schoology, and this is in the teacher's drive. And so the assignments are actually, the student assignments are tucked away in that folder. Don't delete that folder. So I'll go ahead and sorry, from the teacher's mode, let me go ahead and add a third assignment, a homework 3. This is homework 3. And let me go to Google Drive assignments again. And this time I'll go ahead and add the blank document. I have a lot of documents, so in reality I search for them from this box here. But when I'm actually working, I've got documents going back to 2008. So to find anything, I have to add them through the search box. But I'm going to attach that blank document here. I'll set a due date off on Monday at 5. It's an assignment. Should have some points. I'll leave the rest alone. Nothing else I need to do here. And create it. By the way, a little bit of care should be taken. Once you've distributed the assignment, you'll have to create a new assignment if you did something wrong. These are already distributed out, and so if I go in and I try to edit 3, like I want to attach some other document, I can't. It can no longer be detached. It's already distributed out to the students. They can't see it. It's tucked away in my folder, and so it's in a hidden folder, a hidden shared folder technically. Anyway, here's homework number 3, already sent out. And if I go over to Angelina here and refresh, I'll see there's now homework 3. Open up, and I'm gonna pop that out into its own window using this edit button. So I like to edit in my own window. When I'm able to work with students in person, I tell them to pop it out using the edit button. So from here, Angelina is happily working in her document. She hasn't submitted it. It's just she's working in her document at this time. The instructor, if I go into homework 3 and in progress, I'll see that Angelina's in progress. If she hasn't opened it, I'll get a message here that says the document has not yet been opened. So she's happily working her document. I have an open button, not an edit button, and I can open that. And so I can see that Angelina is in her document, working on her document at this time. That she's working on it currently. And give me a moment here. Lost in cyberspace. Well, I'm linked into the other account, but she is, and what I was looking for was the chat window. I need to de-link and link her back in, but my computer is actually crossing between accounts. Too many accounts, one computer. Technically, I should have 2 different computers to do this. But up in this part, there will be a chat capability, and I can see her typing live online from her document. Currently, I'm actually still linked to the teacher account. I haven't quite isolated all my accounts from each other. It's unusual to have so many different accounts running at the same time. But that said, we would both be able to exchange. Any comment I make will appear in real time to Angelina when she opens that particular document. I don't have her properly linked to her own account. Currently, I've attached her to she's attached to the teacher account by mistake. By the way, in homework 2, she can see her grade, she can see the document here, and she can see my comment on the side here that I made from the teacher. So Angelina can see that. So that's a little bit of a rough and tumble introduction to Google Drive assignments. The reason I use it is these Google Drive assignments seem to load well, or have loaded well, over low bandwidth for all of my students for the last 2 years, both here and in the summer that I taught on Koshai campus, including during the daytime at Koshai campus, students are able to open documents and work on them. In that case, laboratory reports in here. And this is a full word processor, and it does have the capability to insert, as we were doing in that class. We were inserting our graphs as images, uploading them from the computer. We were doing screenshots, saving them and uploading them from the computer so that they could complete a laboratory report. One of the things that can be done if you Angelina's got archived. She's been at the school a while. Summer 2017. Her first laboratory report from back then. And so this is a laboratory report from that particular time. Some pieces of it have disappeared over the years, probably due to the conversion, because this is before we were institutional. But students do have access to their old courses and the materials. They don't go away over the years. They're just in archive like they are for an instructor. And so she does have all of her old classes here as well. That's a bit of an introduction to Google Drive assignments, a bit of what the students see and a bit of what teachers see and how to set it up. It does seem to work well, and it gives me documents that a student can edit. And that certainly someone like Angelina can edit and submit. One other possibly useful capability I can think of when you're working in the Drive, you can do some equation editing. When you click on that, that was under Insert Equation, by the way, you get a little equation editor up here. You have some Greek letters, you have some symbols that you can use, and you have some positions. You can create like fractions and things. You might have to change the font size a bit and play around with it. I haven't tried to use this for mathematics homework, but there is some capability of these within this. Again, it may take some altering of sizes and fonts and other things, but Google Sheets has some sort of equation editor. I just have not tried to use it, and I suspect it might be a bridge too far for many of our students to master the equation editor and learn to learn, say, mathematics. But it is a possibility. With that said, that's a bit of a lengthy introduction to Google Drive assignments.